Every year, OnePlus faces tough competition from Honor's devices, but this time around, we have a new competitor in the market in the form of the ZenFone 5G that tries to dethrone the OnePlus 6 from the flagship killer department. You're watching India Today Tech. I'm Rahul Sethi, and in this video, we're going to take a look at these two phones and find out which one you should buy. Okay, so let's begin with the design of these two smartphones. They both have a notch display at front, but there are subtle differences between the two that you should know. For example, the 5G is slightly smaller and lighter compared to the OnePlus 6 that has about 177 grams of weight and is slightly bigger. You'll see that I'll be able to reach the notch with one hand on the 5G, while it's slightly difficult on the OnePlus 6. Also, you'll see the fingerprint scanner at the back are different. It's circular on the 5G and elliptical or pill-shaped on the OnePlus 6, which I pointed out in the OnePlus 6 unboxing as well, that the circular fingerprint scanner is easier or rather more comfortable to use. Also, 5G has an advantage over the 6 when it comes to the slots. Both have dual SIM slots, but it's a hybrid one on the 5G, so you can add a micro SD card as well to expand the storage. But the OnePlus 6 has its own advantages. For example, it has a curved back and the phone overall is slightly slimmer compared to the 5G, so it's fitting in the hands while you feel the bulk when you hold the 5G. Rest, the build quality of the phones is very similar. You get glass back on both these phones. You get a solid metal frame. It's an aluminum unibody design. At the bottom, you'll see the ports are very similar. You get a Type-C port for fast charging, speakers, and dual cameras at the back accompanied by dual LED flash. One thing extra on the 5G that I would like to mention is that it also comes with dual speakers. So the earpiece doubles up as the secondary speaker and the phone is able to give you a dual speaker setup.
Atom! I see what you did there with your name and the shrinking down all tiny and stuff. Relax.
Now let's take a look at the ZenFone 5G.
That hound, he's just evaluating you.
Well, in my scientific evaluation, Ace is very intimidating.
Tell me about it.
But on the contrary, which is quite surprising, is that the OnePlus 6 has much better audio output from its 3.5mm headphone jack. It is slightly powerful and slightly clear compared to the ZenFone 5G. And the ZenFone 5G also misses out on aptX HD, which means that if you are using Bluetooth earphones with any of these two phones, they will work better on the OnePlus 6. So in terms of design, both these phones are pretty nice. They pack big displays in a smaller form factor and at a mid-budget price tag offer you a premium build quality. Next, let's talk about the display before we get into the software on these two phones. They have very similar resolution, that is Full HD+, but both of them are different screens. The difference in real life between these two is that you will see the AMOLED panels are slightly brighter, but they're not very color accurate, while the IPS panels, though not very bright, will have better color accuracy. The 5G compared to the OnePlus 6 has better color. The reds are not very sharp and the blacks are deeper, and you'll see it looks more appealing in the overall experience. Both the IPS and the AMOLED panel have their own advantages and disadvantages, but according to me, it's not really a deciding factor on these two phones, because at the end of the day, both displays perform better and you would not notice great difference unless you compared them side by side. So let's compare the software on these two devices. Asus runs the Zen UI on top of Android Oreo, while OnePlus runs the Oxygen OS on top of Android Oreo. You get latest updated version on both of these phones, and Asus has been putting out regular updates and bug fixes for the 5G. But overall, you'll like OnePlus interface better because it's much more closer to stock, and also it's much more faster. Though the Zen UI is much more streamlined than before, there's still some things that I would like Asus to take a note of. For example, a very simple thing as dialer, you would see there are a lot of options on the top and the bottom, while it's much more streamlined on the Oxygen OS. Then you'll see if you're changing the wallpaper on the phone, there are not tens of options. You just get wallpapers options and then you can select one and apply. But on the ZenFone 5G, you'll get a lot of options that can be confusing at times. In the settings menu, you'll see that most of the important options that you frequently use are put on the top, and if your hotspot is on and if there is a notification, it will appear on the top. But on the ZenFone 5G, you'll see that there are a lot of options already and they are clubbed in the second layer of option. Also, there are a lot of third-party apps on the phone, that generate a lot of notifications. For example, in the ASUS page, you'll see there are ASUS applications. Then the phone comes preloaded with apps like GoToPay or the mobile manager that you may not require so frequently. But the good part is that some of these apps can be taken out of your phone. Alright, time to do some speed comparisons. I've cleared the background applications. Now let's quickly open the Chrome browser first. You'll see it launches much faster on the ZenFone 5Z. Let's open the Google Play Store. Almost the same time. Messages, same time. Let's open Google Maps, same time. Let's open Gallery, same time. Let's open File Manager. Open faster on the OnePlus 6. And let's open the settings menu now. So as you'll see, most apps open at the same time on both phones. And you'll notice one more thing. On OnePlus 6, it takes a lot more time for the app to vanish. Now here we check the speed of the fingerprint scanner. How fast is the phone at unlocking? Slightly faster on the OnePlus 6. So the fingerprint scanner on the OnePlus 6 is slightly more responsive. Now let's see which of the phones boot up first to home screen. So ZenFone 5Z takes a lot of time to go to the home screen from dead. Software is one of the greatest strengths of OnePlus phones, and OnePlus 6 does manage to trump the ZenFone 5Z when it comes to the overall experience. But the ASUS ZenFone 5Z, packing a Snapdragon 845 chip, also gives a tough competition to the OnePlus 6. Now let's talk about the cameras on these two devices. The OnePlus 6 has a dual camera setup, and so does the ASUS ZenFone 5Z. But it's a 16 plus 20 megapixel sensor on the OnePlus 6, while the ASUS ZenFone 5Z has a normal and wide angle lens backed by 12 megapixel and 8 megapixel sensor respectively. Both phones have optical image stabilization, face detection autofocus, and dual LED flash as well. But how the photo taking abilities of these two differ? In most scenarios, we found the ASUS ZenFone 5Z to be ahead of the OnePlus 6. This will be true in terms of both the details and the colors the sensors can capture. While the OnePlus 6 is quick at taking photos and is quite a versatile camera, the ASUS ZenFone 5Z trumps the OnePlus 6 when it comes to the overall image quality. Also, in the bokeh mode, or the portrait mode as you would say, the ZenFone 5Z takes the lead. It captures brighter photos, and the outlines and the edges of the object are sharper in comparison to the OnePlus 6 photo that looks quite dull. And this is true for low light shots as well. Though the OnePlus 6 doesn't lag far behind the ASUS ZenFone 5Z, the ASUS phone in most scenarios tries to keep noise to minimum and captures much sharper details. On the downside though, the ASUS phone is slightly slower as well when you're using it in low light environments. But that ASUS is trying to fix with updates, and we have seen in the past few weeks that a lot has improved. When it comes to videos, both of these phones do a great job. They can capture 4K footage and the videos are quite stable. The autofocus on both these phones also work nicely, while it's slightly better on the ZenFone 5Z, probably because of its AI camera enhancements. This is something we saw while taking portrait shots as well, as the face detection and object detection on the phone is a tad better. Similar is the case with the front camera. The peculiar thing to note here is that ZenFone 5Z has a slightly wider field of view compared to the OnePlus 6, and this is something that comes in handy while you're taking group shots. Irrespective of that, both phones capture very stable videos from its front camera thanks to electronic image stabilization, though the sensor on OnePlus 6 is much better at 16 megapixel. So in the camera department, the ASUS ZenFone 5Z definitely marches ahead of the OnePlus 6. So overall, OnePlus 6 has a very tough competition to fight this time around. The ZenFone 5Z is not only cheaper, it's better in many ways, and not only on paper, it delivers great performance in the real world also. While OnePlus has its own appeal, it's slimmer and faster and comes with near stock experience. The Asus ZenFone 5Z is the phone to try this time around and would be crowned as the real flagship killer. Let us know in the comment section below which phone you like more out of these two. And if you have liked this video, hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to get latest videos delivered directly to your inbox. Thank you for watching.